The Marches Mosses BogLIFE Project aims to restore 665 hectares of the third largest lowland raised bog in Britain. Straddling the Shropshire-Wrexham border, it is comprised of fens, Wixall, Bettisfield, Cadney and Wem Mosses, a national nature reserve. A visit to the Marches Mosses offers an experience of the vast expanse of one of the planet's rarest habitats, important for biodiversity. Restoring the bog to a healthy condition is vital in tackling both the climate emergency and nature crisis. However, for the last 700 years, this wilderness suffered an accelerating rate of degradation caused by human impact due to drainage from peat cutting, as well as the effects of agriculture, forestry, and a scrapyard. Its fortunes changed in 1991 when the central area of the site was bought and declared a National Nature Reserve, an NNR. The main aim of the BogLIFE project is to revive a cover of the keystone species of bogs, sphagnum moss. A technique that was used extensively across the mosses to raise the water table is called peat bunding. Peat bunds are low, watertight peat walls created to form 20 metre by 20 metre or 30 metre by 30 metre cells, joined together in a honeycomb arrangement. To create a length of bund involves an excavator digging a trench to a depth of 1 metre to break up any peat pipes or other holes. Then soggy putty peat, found deeper in the permanently saturated zone, is moulded to form a 15 centimetre high core just above the surface. The core is then covered with the top layer of turf and degraded peat to protect it from drying out. The bunds are typically 1.5 to 2 metres wide at the base and up to 1 metre high, although this height gradually subsides. Repacking the peat this way helps retain rainwater that previously leaked away quickly, unseen below the surface in the degraded, oxidised top layer of drier peat. Bunding has been carried out across 600 hectares and has been very effective in re-wetting large areas of the site. Typically, the mean water table increased by 15 to 30 centimetres following bunds being created. The layout of the bunded cells was carefully planned out, taking into account the slope, the historical peat cutting pattern, and existing ditches and drains. In the 1960s, sizable areas of peatland on the margins of the mosses were drained and ploughed to create commercial conifer plantations. As part of the project, an area of 50 hectares in the northeast's fens moss was harvested and restored to bog habitat. Timber and other materials were recovered for processing by a local timber mill. Branches, tree offcuts and other debris were collected, leaving a clean site compared to standard practice. Brash tracks were limited to the main extraction routes and were removed upon completion. Tree stumps and their root plates had to be lifted by an excavator, moved to the side and then pressed into the peat. This allowed more cell bunds to be created to raise the water table and block the drains. With time, it is expected bog vegetation will take hold and spread. Around the outer edges of the mosses, a range of actions were taken to improve difficult-to-fix habitats. A real eyesore and pollution risk on the bog edge was a car scrapyard set up in the 1960s. Shropshire Wildlife Trust took a bold step in 2016, acquiring the 2.4 hectare site. 700 tonnes of car-related debris, 70,000 used tyres, and 27 tonnes of hazardous asbestos had to be removed for safe disposal off-site. Due to below-ground contamination, a cover of clean soil 40 centimetres deep was brought in and placed across the hardcore areas to form a natural capping. Now it's over to Mother Nature to continue its restoration. The site is rapidly developing a green mantle of vegetation. On the edge of Wixall Moss, a trial was carried out to reverse underdrained peatland from marginal pasture fields to active bog. The method trialled involved 3 stages: the removal of the enriched topsoil layer and the breaking up of the land under drainage pipes, combined with raising the water table by the creation of cell bunds. Finally, specially grown mixes of sphagnum moss species were planted as plugs or spread as a gel across the area. The trial is at an early stage, but achieving favourable and consistent water levels conducive to sphagnum spread has proved problematic, with some areas being either too wet or too dry. The BRONINGTON MANOR drain is an artificial 18th century channel on the north side of the site. As part of a sizable undertaking, its 2.9 kilometre length was rerouted to the site's mineral edge. This enabled the diversion of nutrient-rich water from surrounding farmland and septic tank discharges from houses. These were diverted away from areas of the bog under restoration by peat bunding. Early results indicate the work has been effective, and the water quality of these peatland areas is improving. Here on SINKER'S fields, a new wetland was created on the edge of the bog on former agricultural fields. A new public hide has been created for visitors to view the bird life attracted to it. Following purchase of the land, a scheme involving the creation of clay bunds and pen stocks was undertaken to allow high water levels to be maintained all year round. Another addition to the bog's skyline is the new Mammoth Tower. At 5 metres high, it provides visitors with a spectacular view across the mosses. The National Nature Reserve was officially expanded in 2021 to include land acquired during the project. Today, the area of peatland specially managed for nature conservation exceeds the size of 1,000 football fields. The mosses once again ooze with water and wildlife, and the 1 million tonnes of carbon stored in the peat is protected. What will the next 30 years bring? It is but a blink in the eye of a 10,000-year-old bog. The threat of climate change is urgent and growing, yet the revival of areas following recent restoration effort is promising to see. Continuing the work started 30 years ago will ensure a home for rare biodiversity on this precious site, store even more carbon, and maintain a special place for people to reconnect with nature.